Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome to Justsewsherrie. I'm Justsewsherrie here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. Well, hello and welcome to Take 7. Yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough going this morning. We are now on, it's the 1st of February and we're on about 25 past 6. The first time I started this, I was saying the time was 6 a.m. So it shows how long it's taken to get to this point. So yeah, welcome to a finish parade. So I was up nice and early this morning and I've made the snap decision to do a finish parade, which I was always going to do. I just mean I've made the decision to do it today. Mainly because when I gathered together all my whips this morning, I didn't seem to have very much. I've done quite a lot of stitching this week, but somehow didn't seem to have very much. So I thought, right, we're going to do the finish parade today. I'll hang on to what I've got until next week. And yeah, and as you can see, I am back in my craft room. I am not there yet. Not in a million miles. For anyone new here, I've just had this, I've had new radiators put in this poor room. Was dreadful, and I've made the mistake of trying to sort it out when I'm putting it back. No, Sherrie. No. Yeah, it's been, so I'm trying to move things where I think they'll be more convenient. Or, you know what I mean? I'm trying to find like new homes for different stuff. I'll show you. I mean, we've still got the Hoover there. This is still all whatever. Oh, you can't see, but there's a whole load of stuff piled up over there. So it might look neat. No, everything's been out the way. So I'm back in my room, but I'm still discombobulated. So before we head into the finish parade, I want to take a moment to talk about the sad passing of Jean Lea of the Attic. So if you don't know her, I'm not sure why you wouldn't know her, but if you don't know her, Jean Lea was the owner of the Attic, which is a needlework shop. Is it Arizona? Let me have a look. Where is it? Arizona, I'm right. And she lost her fight with cancer on the 30th of January this year, so a couple of days ago. The Attic mainly deals with, well, it's not mainly, but you know, they're big on samplers, and Jean Lea did a lot of conversions with silk and things, and she was also a great advocate, I want to say, of high counts and 56 counts. She also was a lady who inspired people. You know, when I was reading some of the tributes, they were saying, you know, I didn't know anything until I walked in the attic and Jean kind of wrapped her arms around you and said, yeah, you can do this, of course you can. You know, she was a huge part of the needlework community, certainly in the US, and for likes of me on Flosstube, I would watch their Flosstubes, her and Carolyn, and she just inspired me, really inspired me. And I was thinking about this yesterday when I heard the news yesterday morning, and I think we all knew it was coming one day, but I didn't know it would be that day. And I was really rocked by it, really rocked. And I got angry, you know, I got really angry. I was going to say I don't know why, but, you know, grief is grief. It does what it does. And I spent the morning literally fuming, absolutely livid. And I couldn't understand why I was so angry, other than it was like the unfairness, and I think that's what I was angry at. It was just unfair, and death often is. You know, there's no rhyme or reason, and sometimes it's unfair, and yes, it was unfair. And I started down the road of, well, why am I feeling like this? Jean didn't know me. I knew her, but she didn't know me. So I looked up some stuff on grief and why we feel it when celebrities die. And if anybody is struggling with grief, I got my information from Cruise, which is a bereavement charity here in the UK, which has got some really good information on it. And it talked about celebrities can inspire us, and they're also role models, and that's where Jean was in my life. She was somebody I aspired to be, or somebody I was desperate. I would love to have met her, absolutely love to have met her, and that came into the unfairness of it all as well. That little selfish part of me come, but I wanted to go. I wanted to meet Jean Lea. Excuse me, I just need a drink. Yeah. And of course, America is hurting as well through the plane crash as well at the moment. So if you're in America and you've been doubly hit by that, you know, my heart goes out to you. It really does. I had a little look on the Attic site, and it says they won't be open January 30th or the 1st of February. It does say Jean's husband wants her legacy to continue. Attic Needlework remains committed to the needlework community and will continue to serve its customers as it's always done. You can send condolences and notes of sympathy to Jean's family, and I'll put the address in the box down below. So if you want to reach out to Jean's family and show them how much she meant to all of us, yeah. You know, and where do you go from that? How do you segue into? I suppose you segue into doing what Jean loved to do, and that was stitching. I'm just going to take a moment and then I will crack on with Jean's passion, which is stitching. One moment. Right, I've just had a right faff on with me lights, and I'm hoping this works a little bit better. So, 2024, I thought I would take you through my book of days, what I genuinely do, what I generally do. With my book of days, obviously put my stitching in, which days, but with this down the side, I put new starts and finishes. So, I think what's going to be quite interesting for me as well, just to see which ones I started, which ones did I finish as well. So when we started, in the beginning, there was a needle and a thread. In the beginning there was January. In January, on the 1st of January, I started my Modern Folk Embroidery Quaker Starts. Quaker Sisters. So Quaker Sisters I did finish. I started Evanora, which was meant to be my retreat stitch. Not much stitching got done at retreats because that wasn't finished. Seasons of the Heart by the Blue Flower. Spring. I was meant to be doing spring, summer, autumn and winter. Nah, I didn't even get the rest of them finished. I started spring, but that was as far as I got. And winter is coming, and I think that's by Stitches Through the Years on Etsy, I think. And I think I finished that as well. Yeah, I did finish that. Finishes in January, I had January Quaker. So this is From the Heart, Needlework by Wendy. And this was the backbone of my 24 and 24. It was my 12 and 12 as well. So 12 and 12 is 12. I think it started off being 12 starts in 12 hours on New Year's Eve. But people make it their own now. They do 12 whips, 12, half whips, half starts. So anyway, this was my 12 and 12 as well as my 24 and 24. Try and keep up with that because I didn't. I did get this finished. As you can see, I didn't get it fully finished. When did I finish it? The 11th of the 1st. Why haven't I fully finished it? Because apparently I don't. It's ironed. I'm calling that a win. It's ironed. So that was my first finish of 2024. Next one, which is fully finished, is by Little House Needlework, and it is the Winter Petites, which I have fully finished. I did have it hanging on one of these. I don't know. Is it called a bell pull? I don't know. It barely reaches. Barely reaches. So I keep thinking I'm going to put a... Oh God, I can't get it out now. Put a slightly longer bit of fabric to just hold it there. But that was the thickest bit of ribbon. So I'll bring them in. So these are the Winter Petites by Little House Needleworks. And all I did with these was put some batten on, put it on some card, backed it with card. If you're new here, number 1, welcome. Number 2, you might want to put your seatbelt on. Number 3, put your crash helmet on. I'm lazy. I am lazy. I love to do the stitching. I enjoy the finishing when I'm in it, but I'd rather be stitching. So I do quick wins. So they were glued. The backs were all glued on. So that was January. In February, new starts. I started the second sister of Modern Folk Embroidery, and yes, I finished that as well by Cat. No, didn't finish that. That was in my whip parade. Rosebush Sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery again. I didn't finish that, but I love it. And Maud Mary by Mama Loves You GB, and yes, I finished that as well. So in February though, I only had one finish, and it was quite a paltry one. Well, not a paltry one, but February. So this was again the From the Heart Needlework by Wendy. And it's in the frame because today is the 1st of February. So what is going to be nice is this year I'm going to be able to put like happy 1st of whatever for me Quakers, because they're done. Last year I struggled. I really struggled to get them done in the same month. Do you know, I'm lying through my back teeth. It says I finished this on the 2nd. Yeah, I must have started doing that's right. Because at the beginning of the year, I was adamant I was going to get ahead of myself. And that didn't happen. So in February, I was still doing well. But I don't know if I got it fully finished and in a frame last year. Don't know. I must have because I fully finished it. So that is From the Heart Needlework by Wendy. March. Oh, Nightingale, which is a mirror, was for my birthday. That's right, it was my 50th birthday. That was UFO'd. Didn't like it. Didn't like it at all on the fabric that I'd chosen. It's a picture of this plus fabric that I'd picked. And I just felt the weave wasn't wide enough, open enough to carry the two threads nicely. Again, if you're new here, you'll hear about my eternal struggle with getting two threads to lie the way I want it to lie. So I just UFO'd it in the finish. What have I got here? Thistle needle. Oh, needle. It's thistle needle case. Didn't finish that. And I've got Forget-Me-Not, which was UFO'd as well. March was not a good month for starts. I am about to restart that one though, funnily enough. And that was on actually my birthday that I started that. But finishes I did well. Finishes I did really well. I finished Disturbed Women. I don't know why I haven't got it. Oh, I have got it. Oh, I just broke it. You know, I said, hold on to your hat. I'll put your crash helmet on. I've just broke it. I started it on the 18th. For some reason, I haven't put it down on me February month. So this was Disturbed Women. I mean, I've just snapped this off. This is by Lucy Beam. And underneath it's got Ward B on the original pattern. I left that off. I'm just trying to see how I finished it. This is one of the cackest finishes I think I've ever done. It's on polystyrene. Now, I ordered, some of you ladies in the UK or even the US can tell me, I ordered foam core board and it came, and as Nikki will tell you, it's polystyrene, which sounds awful, which it does. Is foam core board actually the same as polystyrene? Because I thought it would be like board with a little bit of polystyrene maybe in the middle, like a centre of foam core. I'm just watching the man out the back's getting dressed. The man out the back. God, that sounds awful. My next door, not my next door neighbour, the man that back. See, I'm all in a tether. Oh, he's gone. So, the man that lives over the back from me, their kitchen lights on, and it's dark outside. And he was just busy putting his jumper on when I happened to glance out. Yeah, I don't know why I'm blushing. I've seen a man's chest before. Oh, he's back. He's put his hat on as well. Oh, he's getting well togged up now. Yes. Well. Dear me, I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, well, the foam core board. I was talking about what I thought foam core board should be, wasn't I? Anyway, moving on. So all I did was, I know what I wanted this to look like, because I've got, this is how crap my finishing is. Clag it on, glue it, and I wanted like just a ribbon around it, and then like maybe a cord or something. It just obviously didn't work the way it wanted to, and it ended up really crap. But I kind of thought that was appropriate, because back in the day, when women would have been admitted to these wards, it would have been a dirty, miserable place to be anyway. And I wanted it to kind of look like a door, you know, that's why I put that on there. It never did. So I think I probably need to refinish that and make it look something better. I don't think I'll ever look at that again without thinking of naked men though. He had his trousers on, thank goodness, I think. I didn't see that far, I didn't look that low. Yes. One moment. Okay, I'm a little bit more composed now. I keep glancing out as well. I'm not, you know. Anyway, I finished 2 biggies this month. Quaker 1 and Quaker 2. So this was the first one I did. And yes, it got fully finished. Not in museum glass, as you can see by the glare. And I loved it. I loved it. I didn't love this one, I'll talk about that in a moment. And then I got the second one finished as well. Yes, both finished in March. And they were both framed together. And you can see my lights, I'll just tilt them slightly. Right, that's better. Some of you who were around last year will know when I picked these up I was devastated. Fortunately, the lady who framed them, Lisa at Italia Framing, does a wonderful job. Wonderful job of framing. Nothing wrong with the framing. It's perfect. My stitching. Number 1. I carried thread and you can see it here and here. I know better than that. It's obviously being hacky, bloody lazy because I didn't want to finish the thread off and start again. I learned a lesson. We talked about this last year. Do I make mistakes or do I learn lessons? I did learn, well, have I learned a lesson? Well, I haven't framed anything that looks like that again. And for this one, when I did it, I wasn't sure about this writing in the centre, and I was right. You can't really read it. It's very difficult to read. For thou art mine and I am. For I am thine and thou art mine. It looks lovely close up. You can see it, and it's really pretty. So when I was stitching it, I kept thinking, you can be able to see this? Are you not? Are you? I'm not sure. And then it was 1/1. And I remember I was like halfway through, I think the second or the third word, thinking, oh, I'm going with it. I'm not ripping out 1/1. So it's 32 count. It's done on. And yeah, again, lazy. I should have ripped it out and done it again. I learned lessons. And I stopped seeing the carried thread after a while. I've only just started seeing it again because I've remembered to talk about it. But I'd highly recommend Lisa's framing. She's very, very good. And does a fabulous job. So these were done both on 32 counts. This was some sort of a grey with tin white, I believe. And this one was an antique white with a blue. Yeah. I can track back and find out if you need to know which one exactly. But they sit downstairs like that, and they look good. They do look good. They don't sit downstairs, they hang downstairs, and they look good. Okay, let's move these and I will get April's. Yeah, this tidying the room malarkey. Look at this. Oh, I'm showing you my pants again. I've acquired this new cupboard because it did have the water tank in it, so that's come out. And I decided it would be bright to put the drawers that's on wheels there, so I can pull it out when I need to. And of course, all of my Halloween stuff was being stored in that cupboard. So here we are. So it was kind of looking sort of tidy-ish. Right, April was a bumper month, but I missed a March, and I did, again, from the Heart Needlework by Wendy. I did March. I think I did this in all the called for. These were all done, I should have said, on 22 count hard hanger. So they're all a lot smaller than they should be. Not they should be. They're a lot smaller than what they would be if it was, say, 32 count. They would be much bigger. So that was March. I hate doing March and greens. Everybody thingies March because of St Patrick's Day with green, but we don't. I've never celebrated St Patrick's Day. I'm not Irish, so I think a lot of people hop on it now to have a good swelly. But yeah, so green means nothing to me. March should be blue because it's my birthday. Blue's my favourite colour. Does Wendy not know? What's this all about? Okay, so that was March. April was a good month for finishing. I started Be Not a Dunce, which is the 56 count that I'm going to pull out for in memory of Jean today. Halloween Bird I did finish. Halloween Quaker I did not finish. Thistle Crown. What's Thistle Crown? I don't know what Thistle Crown is. Is that? Oh, it's Ink Circles, isn't it? I started that one 3 times. Didn't finish it. Sorry, I started it 3 times. I still haven't finished any of them because 2 of them have been UFO'd, of course. I've then got, where's my gaps? Floral Etchings that I started, which I did finish. And Summer something. I've lost my glasses. Summer something. God knows. God knows. So finishes though, I had April Quaker. Hated this one. I didn't like the colours. I didn't like the pattern. But it's done. So, yeah. It was a box ticked. But I didn't like this one at all. Too flowery. In terms of, I think, there wasn't much. I know they're symmetrical. But when I was stitching it, it didn't feel like any sort of repeats. There was no point where I could go, oh yeah, that's like, stitch 2, miss 1, stitch 3, stitch 1, you know what I mean? Again and again and again. There was none of that. I had to concentrate, I think, was the problem. What else did I finish? Season of the Witch by Primitive Hair. Isn't fully finished, but it is finished. And I did this on a 20 count Megan Coffee Craft. And I loved this, but it took me a while to do a skirt. Yeah, I struggled by the time I was getting towards the bottom of the skirt. And this was where I thought, when I was busy stitching this, I thought it was a splattered frog, you know, like you have in autonomy. What's autonomy? Anatomy. Where you would have a frog splayed out with like pins stuck in it so you can dissect its insides. I thought it was that. The only reason I found out it wasn't that was because I watched Garon Stitchery with Gary and Ronnie. And Gary was stitching it and he went, oh, he says, I'm loving this scarecrow. Oh, it's a scarecrow. I didn't know. Looked like a splattered bit of green to me. Yeah, I enjoyed that though. What came next? Honey Tiny Town. And this is fully finished. It is fully finished. It's fully finished even. So I made this. This was on 32 count plain linen. So this was quite a big one. Compared to the others, I've done another one on 20 count and the size difference is just wild. So I enjoyed this and I went right out of my comfort zone and I stitched different bits of fabric together, glued the button. has to be something that's you know, cack-handed. And I did a snip finish in the back, and I managed to cut out a bee from another bit of fabric. It was the same fabric as that, and cut it out and stuck it on the back. And I'm chuffed with that. I loved this, and I think it was like the first one that I'd done where I'd put fabrics together, not just like its own self. You know what I mean? Like, not just the stitching. So I was pleased with that. So that was Honey of a Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. It's Heart and Hand, isn't it? I think it is. A Thistle House, which is fully finished as well. So this is by Plum Street. And I framed this myself, all by my Bessie. I was well chuffed with myself. Sorry, I'm holding it so that the light doesn't thingy on it. If I put it that way so you can see the lady. Oh, that's better. You can see the lady. Just. She shows up fine in real life though, to be fair. This I made a meal of. I had started this January 2023. And I know that because it was the first time I went to the Northeast Stitching retreat. I decided to have a new start to celebrate. I didn't know at the time that new starts at retreats probably isn't the best way. Actually, it wasn't the retreat, sorry, it was the Stitchy Day. So they meet up once a month and have a Stitchy Day. And that was the first time I'd went to it. I did get my first stitches in. I think I got about 3 in. To be fair, it set the tone for the rest of my retreats. But yeah. So I was chuffed with that. And I did this on a 28 count flax, I think. 28 or 32. Can't remember. I loved it. I loved it. But again, I mean, the grass and the flowers, it's all full coverage. I don't do full coverage. So, yes. I made a meal of it. It took me 1 year and 3 months to finish from start. It's probably not great. Midnight Magic. And that was this little beauty, I think. And this was from the Friend Stitch 2023. And can you see that? There. There's the back. Hang on to your hat. And I've definitely fully finished it. I've obviously cut it out thinking, oh, one day I'll glue it on. It's meant to be. Honestly. Lazy. I haven't even bloody glued the thing on now. I'm just kind of clagging it together and calling it done. So again, this was on, I did get the box shipped to me. So it was the fabric that was included and all the called for threads. Pretty sure I think it's a 32 count. So I was pleased because again, I'd had this from, yeah, it was August, September 2023, I think. Yeah. What else have I got in April? May Quaker. Where's my May Quaker? Oh, I enjoyed this one. I like this one much better. It had much more sort of geometric shapes, not such flowery shapes. So I quite like this one. So again, 22 count hard hanger. Can't remember if it was with the called for or not. This was about the time that I started deciding, do you know what, I'm gonna, if I don't like the colours, I'm gonna pick my own. So this was at the point where I started to go rogue and get me own colours. So I finished that on the 24th. And I've got Winter Quaker written down. I think it's Winter is Coming, which is a Quaker. And I have nearly, all bar the bells and whistles, fully finished this. So this is, again, it is a 20 count Megan Coffee Craft. And this is by Stitches Through the Years on Etsy. And I haven't done the spring one, so I've done winter, summer and autumn. So I need to do the spring one this year. But I love doing these, really enjoyed them. And all I haven't done, I just need to whip stitch the end of it. I've just used a fabric that I got from York. Viking Loom. The Viking Loom. Yes, York Viking Loom, I think. That's what it's called. I sometimes swerve by when I'm heading down south and have a look in to see what they've got, and they've got some really lovely fabrics. So I got that. So that was May. No, it wasn't. It was April. Getting ahead of myself, and we've got quite a lot for May as well. One moment while I shuffle. Right, we were at May. And I hop forward because June and July haven't got as many. So May, I finished Halloween Bird, and it is fully finished. So this was a frame I got from a charity shop, which was £2. And I thought it would be perfect. So I've done this on 36 count Winter Moon. And I love this. Now this one has got a Sherrie twist on it. When I did the ghost, you literally couldn't see him. I mean, I know it's kind of the point with ghosts, but so I had to do some back stitch. Well, I chose to do some back stitch around the ghost. And because of that, these looked odd. So I ended up doing back stitch around these two. I know, choosing to do a back stitch. What's that all about? Now, I thought this was a traffic cone. I still think it looks like a traffic cone. Cecilia, I don't understand why you'd have an orange hat. We normally have black hats or switches. So yeah, I don't know why. But I loved stitching this. I loved stitching the wee birds. Really enjoyed them. These were the 4 of my 24 and 24, and I managed to get them all done, all started and all finished. So they were a definite win. So that was Halloween. What came next? Bee stitching. I'd rather be stitching by Primrose Cottage. And I remember doing this when I was down at the Stacey Nash retreat down in Cornwall. I pretty much stitched on this most of the week, and I got it finished down there. And it was a glorious week. I used to sit out the back of the little cottage that I'd rented in the sunshine. And it was on a working farm. So I had little lambs, because in May, obviously it's like April, May's lambing season. So I had all the little lambs jumping about and running about and bleating for the mums, and the mothers bleating for them to say, get here, you know, Jimmy, you've been naughty, you should get with me, here. So it could be a little bit noisy at times when all the mums were bleating for their lambs, but it was a lovely week, really lovely week. Have you seen as well, I've had my nails done. This kind of wasn't the colour I thought it was going to be, but it's quite nice. It's all right. It's all right. So, yes, till the fabric I made into a pillow. I haven't quite fully finished it. I've done my usual. I've done my snip, but I haven't covered the hole. I don't know why I show you these things. You would never know if I didn't show you. No. Okay, where are we now? This was a biggie. Maud Mary. Maud Mary. This was a massive one for me. So this is by Mama Loves You GB, and it was the exclusive, the retreat exclusive. It was from Stitch in London, the sampler edition that I went to in, oh, I've forgotten to tell you what I've started, haven't I? Oh well. When did I start it? I think it must have been April. No, I haven't written it down for whatever reason. Oh, there. Maud Mary, I can see I've stitched on it there. No idea. Started in April sometime. And finished it in May. So when I went to the sampler edition, I was a little bit worried because I thought, am I going to like it? Am I really going to? I liked samplers, but that's kind of as far as it went. And the reason I was going was to meet Michelle, Mama Loves You GB, because she was my hero. And this was the retreat exclusive, which I've just said. And we've got all the threads. It's done on 36 counts of macaque, and we've got all the over dyes to do it. And I fell in love. I fell head over heels in love with samplers. Like, what do you call them? What are they called? Writing samplers? What they're called? Menopause has stolen me words. Anyway, I fell in love with samplers. Alphabet samplers as well. Now this, I did, it was Maud Mary Dodrell, and I did Dodd in red because that's my surname. And it just sparked a real love in me that I didn't know I had. So I got this framed. It is actually with museum glass. And Lisa from Italia Frames, she did it, and she did a fabulous, fabulous job. Because obviously with it being, having the lines, I'm saying I did it with the called for. I didn't. I'm lying. This was meant to be done with corn silk. Weeks Dye Works, the border, the frame, was meant to be done with, I think it was corn silk. And you couldn't really see it, which was correct because the sampler itself had a tone-on-tone thread colour. I decided if I was going to do all of this stitching all the way around and all in the middle, that I wanted to bloody see what I've done for me work. So I changed it to Classic Colourworks Ye Old Gold. And I like the way it came out. I'm pleased with the results. It was the one time I did something and I thought, yeah, really, really happy with that. So I made a point of getting it framed properly in terms of paying for a big frame. I don't know. I mean, Lisa helped us choose it. She'll sit for hours, you know, and just putting different frames on. Went this, that. And it was one of the very last ones, because this isn't the frame I would have gone for. Not in a million years. And she put the corner on and we both just went, yeah, nailed that one. Loved, loved, loved. And it really... It was a cornerstone of me then jumping quite heavily into a sampler world. So, what else did I have? Autumn Waybird. So, again, 36 count Winter Moon by Zweigart. I love these. I know I've said it before, but I did. I love doing these. Now, you can see it has been kind of framed, and it was framed with a little white frame just so that I could get it up for the season, but it didn't look right, so I took it out straight away, and it needs to be framed again. I liked how I did this one with it's got a bit of poof, bit of battening, a bit of poof. So I need some more frames like that. And I've got a frame fetish. I've got hundreds of frames. But of course none of them work. Not one of them. So that is Autumn Wee Bird by Heart and Hand. All done with all of the called for over dyes. No, it isn't. It's DMC, isn't it? Called for DMC, I think. No, do you know what I've done? She calls for over dyes and puts the DMC conversion on. And what I did for this particular one, I did all of them with DMC apart from this pumpkin. And I did the pumpkin with the called for over dye because it was such a hefty piece of stitching. I'm sure I did it with the called for over dye. Sure I did. Sure I did. Sure I did. And that was May. New starts I had in May were Mary Robbard, which I finished, Strawberry Cottage, which I didn't, Autumn Wee Bird you've just seen, Christmas Wee Bird, which I finished, Thistle Crown. Oh, Pride and Prejudice as well. I've forgotten about that. I wonder where I finished that at. So, June. I've got one finish. June wasn't a good month. It appears that June was the month of starts. So I started Xenia, which I haven't finished, which is a Nora Corbett Bewitching Pixie. I started Pretty Bird, or My Rachel Bird, that I think everyone fell in love with. I started Sophia Church, which was a meat whip parade, so didn't finish. Christmas Wee Bird, which I did, and Winter Wee Bird, which I did as well. So what did I finish? One. But it was a goodie. Mary Robbard's Pocket by Stacey Nash. And fully finished, the way it's meant to be, exactly the way it's meant to be. So it's even got the buttons, it's got the inside material, lining fabric I think you call it. And I've got I've got some new shears, and this was like a mini version that I got tempted to buy on my way out at the checkout. But I loved, and I know if you followed me, you'll know. And I mean, I must have shown you this on at least 22 floss tubes, just because, like, oh, it's handy, I'll show you Mary Rods. So this was done on, I think it was Steinbeck, and it was 36 count, I think 36 count, and I did it with Lancaster Red, Weeks Dye Works Lancaster Red. Oh, I love this. Loved it. And this may be as well because I had only just started getting into these sort of alphabet samplers. What do you call it? That's bugging the life out of me now. Don't know. Literary something to do with words, obviously I can't remember. Okay, moving on to July. New Start, Christmas Rules, which I finished. A Burnhope, which I didn't, is in Whip Parade. Rosewood. I haven't finished it. I don't know what that is. Sarah Fletcher, which I actually is in my Whip Parade as well, but yeah, that might come out soon. Finishes though, I did have Winter Wee Bird. And this was the only one of the Wee Birds that I didn't do on 36 count Winter White. Winter White? My words are leaving me. My words are totally leaving me. What the hell? Winter Moon. So this is on... Is it Cyprus? I think. It's definitely a 36 count, if not a 40. Yeah, it's a 36 count. I'm just measuring it against one of the others. So it's 36 count. I'm sure it's Cypress by Fibre on a Whim, maybe. Can't remember. I should have. Yeah. This is why I need to sort my own tracker out for this year, so that I can keep the things I need to keep. And this was just done with the DMC as well. And he's dead canny, the little snowman. Isn't he cute? But this, obviously, to be fair, I'd actually quite forgotten I'd stitched it. Didn't come out for the winter season, then obviously didn't get fully finished for the winter season. What else did I finish? Boo Cat. I loved this. Loved this. Boo Cat. And I can't remember who it was from. Is it Crazy Annie? Crazy Annie's? Can't remember. I get Dirty Annie's and Crazy Annie mixed up. It's one of those. And I love this. Love this. And it's got the pins in from Just Another Button Company. So the little black cat, the raven and the spider, I think. Yeah, the spider. And I did this on Mirage. It's either a 36 or a 40 count Mirage. I think. And I just backed it with some fabric. Obviously, some fabric. And I need to fully finish with a button or something on the back. So that is Boo Cat. I loved this. Loved it. There was another one that came out this year. I can't remember if I bought it or not. And I was going to when I was looking at it. Because I remember Rachel pointing it out to me. Yeah. And the next one I did in July was... do you know, in June, I've got written down July, 23rd of June, and I didn't know what it was, so I just ignored it. It was me Quaker. So now this, and this is from June that I did. This is obviously patriotic for Americans, and I love this. I love a lot of the patriotic stitches because I like the colours. But for this specific, I didn't like the deep red. I changed it to more of a cherry red. Purely because I'm not American. So I kind of thought it's going to seem a bit daft if I've got an American stitch. And since then I've changed my mind. I've decided that, you know what, I like the colours. And I can stitch American stuff if I want to. So, there. And I intend to fully utilise my new look on life as we go forward. And then I have got the August Quaker. Again, this wasn't one of my favourites. I loved the American one, patriotic one. Didn't like this one. Not as bad as April. But it was this bit round here. Oh, it just seemed to go on forever. All these leaves. Went on forever and ever. Okay, that's August. No, that was July. For August, I only have one finish. So I'm going to grab it. And it is, of course, the bird I could not stop stitching on last year. Totally fell in love. My Rachel bird by the Artsy Housewife. And I called it my Rachel bird because my friend Rachel, who is top and dog stitcher on Flosstube, started a new online stitching shop which is the Talking Dog Stitchery, and I'll link her down below. And this was the first stitch I got with my first order that I decided to stitch on, and I just fell in love. The fabric, I used 36 count parchment, which is now one of my go-tos. I loved the colours, I just loved every single stitch of this, every single stitch. So this became my Rachel bird, and I think quite a lot of people picked it up as well. I just loved it, and I have got it. I have got some fabric earmarked, because what I thought I would do is do it as a bell pull. But I think the bell pull I've got that I was going to use it on, it's too wide, and I was going to add some fabric down the sides. So that's why I haven't finished it. I think because I'm frightened to make a mess of it, because I loved every stitch and I don't want to ruin it. But I could stitch it. To be fair, if I ruin it, I could stitch it all over again, and I would love it just as much. I have no doubts. Just glorious. That's probably my stitch of the year, is probably being this one, my Rachel bird. Okay, we're getting into September. Let me have a quick breather and I shall be back with you. Okay, September finishes. According to my book of days, I had one. September. Again, From the Heart, Needlework by Wendy. I enjoyed this one. I did enjoy this one. Yeah. And I think this was one of the ones, it was one of the ones that I went totally rogue with the colours, and put my own colours in. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I will be doing that. I think by that point I'd started to learn that A, I could pick other colours, B, it was okay to do that, and C, it made for a happier stitch. So I'm going to continue to do that. I've still lost my glasses. I was just looking, I thought I had me, you know when you get an imprint from your glasses. I don't know what I've done with them. And I mean, I had them before. Welcome to my world. And in September I started Away We Ride by Blackbird. Didn't finish that. Brenda Gervais, Fall, which I have finished, and I've fully finished, and I need to remember where I put it. I started A Mill Hill Pumpkin. I started In Nature by Blueberry Ridge. I started Hannah Atwater. September was a start in September. Hannah Atwater by Mama Loves You GB, which is still a whip. Friendly Blooms. Don't know what that is. I think I've put the 20. Don't know what Friendly Blooms is. Isn't it mad? We do this stuff and then it's just gone. Totally forgotten. And I've still got quite a few more finishes to show you. But haven't got a huge amount written down. So we will see. So October I started When Pumpkins Glow, Brenda Gervais. I didn't finish that. No, I didn't finish that because have I finished it now? I think I've finished it. No, because it would be me finishes if I finished it. Hey, Sherrie, have a word with yourself. Room at the Table, I haven't finished. Gothic Bat, I definitely haven't finished. Halloween Pillow, don't know what that is. 1692, I have finished that. And me Norfolk Sampler, which I haven't finished either. But I have finished Evelyn Sear. Now, Evelyn Sear was very kindly given to me by my friend Alison. and there was two things in it. There was a needle, a pin packet pocket. Say that fast. So that is the pin packet pocket, which obviously I haven't finished into a pin packet pocket as yet. But this was done with the called for, so it was from, I can't remember. It's a company from Australia. I've got it in me cupboard. The Cruel Goblin Needle Art, Needlecraft Glasses. If you can read that, that's where I got it from. Well, I got it from Alison, who got it from there. So this was the called for. It came with silks, if I remember right. Oh, it was MPIs, wasn't it? It came with MPIs and the fabric 32 count, which I did that on. However, I then did the sampler, and I did that on, I changed and did it on a 36 count summer khaki. 36 count summer khaki became a go-to favourite as well. Winter Moon, Parchment, summer khaki. Yeah, they were my three big loves, I think, from 2024. So I did it with the MPIs as well, though, and I finished that. And I loved it. I loved every stitch of this one as well. I realised I fell in love with red samplers. Don't know how that happened. I just did. It's all Michelle's fault. I'm blaming her entirely. If I hadn't got the sampler edition, Stitch in London, none of this would have happened. None of it. So that was that. What else? Definitely October Quaker. I loved this. I loved doing this. Can't remember if I substituted colours or not. But I loved every stitch of this one. Although I was starting to flag. By the time I got to November, I was seriously flagging. But I did finish. Did finish October. What else have we got? Ah, Apothecary. This is my Drove Doom, guys. So, Primrose Cottage, the Salem Sisters Apothecary. And I loved this as well. I've got it down as a restart, so I don't know what happened to the first one. No idea. But, and I can't remember actually restarting it. But I've got it written down, so I assume it's true. And I loved this. I was dead pleased with this when I was finished. And I think I was chuffed to have it done by the end of October as well. So the end of Halloween season. But I really, really enjoyed this. Because I bought another one. The Salem Sisters Stitchery, I think it is. Just bought it fairly recently. So if you watch my floss tubes normally, you can probably remember. My memory's gone. It's gone. It's gone. 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 And that's all I've got for finishes in October. And then November, I started a Mill Hill Sleigh, didn't finish. Historical Sampler Company Reindeer, which I did finish. My Gingerbread House by Stacey Nash, which did get finished. Christmas Queen of Needles, it isn't finished, but I'm actually not far away. And the only finish I've got written down is the reindeer, which I've just said. And then we get to the point where it is blank. So that's my book of days. And that's December. I don't know what happened. because I've got lots more finishes. So I don't know what happened. But my reindeer snow globe. Where is my reindeer snow globe? I'll have to find it. And I've missed one as well. So let's just go through the ones that I found that I know I've finished, but I haven't written down. So I finished November, again from the heart, Needlework by Wendy. But I was at the end by then, and I have not done December. I missed June as well. I lost June. I found it now. So this year, I need to do June and December, but I'm still having PTSD over having to go back and do them again. And the one that I had a fully finish for was Floral Etchings 2. This was done with the cold for, and it's heart in hand, isn't it? Floral Etchings, I think. So yeah, I did it with the cold for threads, and I did it on 40 count ballet slippers by Fox and Rabbit. And I thought I'd bring my other one up to show you as well, because this is number 1. And that was done on 32 count ballet slippers. And you can see not only the colour difference, but obviously the size difference. So I just thought it was interesting to see. These both hang together downstairs. And I've framed this. Didn't do too bad a job, I don't think. I might have pinned it, can't remember. But I definitely framed it. Framed both of them. Enjoyed these. And I wanted to do Christmas etchings, but I ran out of time in Steam, and no, I just ran out of time. I wanted to stitch all the things. Now this little one is one I finished. Home is where your broom is. Now what I tend to do is the magazines that I get, the pins from Just Another Button Company, that one I think is a primitive hair. That little cat is a primitive hair pin. He's lush. When I get the Halloween magazines, what I tend to do is go through them and decide which ones I'd like and which ones I'd like to stitch. And I photocopy those ones, and then I put them in my Halloween section so that I come across them, because I'm terrible for out of mind, out of sight. Out of sight, out of mind even. And as you know, I'm a paper girl, so I need it there to be able to flick through and me, yep, like that one, I'll do that. Because the ones that are on me phone and on my computer, I just forget about. I really do. So I tend to, I think for the magazines particularly, it works for me where I can just print them out. So I can't remember who this is by, but it was from Halloween 23 or 24. I can find out if you need to know. It's the same with anything. If I haven't said anything about any of them and you want to know, just give me a kick and say what you want to know. So what else did I finish? I finished this one. This was by Primitive Hair, and it is done on Primitive Hair fabric, 40 count. I want to call it Tempest, but I could be wrong. But it's a Primitive Hair, and it's a 40 count. And I think I did it with $3,799 DMC. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's a harsh black, because I wanted it to look a little bit oldie worldy. Still not sure what I'll finish this in. Probably a hoop. I don't think it's not screaming pillow finish to me. I think probably a hoop. Not sure. Right, what else did I do? Oh, this one. Christmas wee bird. He didn't get put out for Christmas either, because quite honestly, until I picked him up today, I'd forgotten that I'd done him. And I wouldn't care, I love his hat. It's like a deer stalker, but it's not. It's obviously a very big, long Santa hat. But again, 36 count winter moon. Loved it. Loved it. What else did I do? I did this one. October House Fibre Arts, I think it is. And I loved this one as well. I loved this. I did this over the Christmas. Oh, loved every stitch. Can't remember. I think it's raw, the fabric. And again, I think it's a 36 count. Looks like a 36 or a 40 count, I think. I would need to check though. I loved that. Yep. And we've got this one. This little guy, Santa's Parade by Primrose Cottage, I think. If you look up Christmas Parade, you'll find out. I think it's Primrose Cottage. And I started this in 2023, Christmas 2023, and finished it Christmas 2024. And I'm chuffed to bits with it. No, I was totally inspired to keep going with this. A lady called Adita, who I'll link her Instagram below. She did this and she got it framed, and it's beautiful. Her stitching's gorgeous. And it just inspired me to keep going, because it took a bit of stitching. And this is done on 32 count. I think it's called Stormy Night or Stormy, something like that. Is what I got. I loved this. And I still haven't decided again how to finish it. I don't know whether to make him into a pillow or frame him. I think I quite like him as a pillow. Yeah, I think I do. And of course this one, which is a Primrose Cottage Christmas Rules, that I stitched with the wonderful Rachel, Talking Dog Stitcher, and we thingied it down into sections. We started on the 1st of July for Christmas in July, and we mashed it into sections with the hope of getting it done by Christmas, well, by the 1st of December, and we did, both of us. We nailed it, and we nailed it together, so that last day we were stitching, we were like texting, like, where you at, have you got another few stitches? And I think she finished officially 6 minutes before me, but it was so lovely that we literally started together and actually finished together as well. So, and I think he would be nice as either a bell pull or framed. I think it has to be. I don't think cushion would definitely not work, I don't think. And I can't think of anything else to do with him. I like the idea of a bell pull. Whether that means I just do it as a long slim one or if I add fabric onto either side, not sure yet. And my last one that I finished last year was my Evertote. So this was the Evertote Advent box, and so it's a collaboration between Evertote, Roxy Floss Company and Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery. So each day we got a new piece of the pattern and a new Roxy Floss thread to do the Advent stitch. And I finished it on the It's meant to be finished on the 25th and I finished it on the 26th. So I was quite chuffed with myself because there's a good chunk of sewing in this. Sewing? Stitching. It took a while. But I'm pleased I kept up with it, because if I hadn't, I don't think I would have gone back to it. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have gone back to it because it took some doing. So I was chuffed to bits that I kind of finished on a little bit of a high note with something this kind of complex, if you like. I loved it. Loved it, loved it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Loving it like that. And that is my finish parade of 2024. So what am I going to do now? I don't know, because it isn't a normal floss tube. I'm going to move this. One moment. So there's not really much anything else to do, is there? Without a normal floss tube. Normally I've got gifts and stitchy kindness. I do have some lovely stitchy kindness, which I will wait and share with you next week, along with the gifts. And the fact that I set myself a challenge that I wasn't going to buy anything more than 3 things that I wanted a month. And I've made it. I only bought 2. I'm calling that a rollover, but we'll talk about that next week, because I may well have bought bought all of February's, and because I'm starting to have like, oh my god, I haven't got anything through the door for ages. Starting to have those moments. So yeah, so I guess that's probably about it. Normally I wouldn't do a final thought on a parade, if you like, but I will today. It goes back to the beginning, because today, in honour of Jean Lea, I will pick up my 56 count, which, as it happens to be, is Be Not a Dunce by Michelle, Mama Loves You GB. And it's kind of, I was going to say, it's just kind of fitting, I think, because Michelle's just been to Sampler Symposium over there, and she was invited to go there from Jean. So it's kind of fitting that they both come together, for me anyway, because they both were massive in my life and huge influences, and I'm very, very grateful to both of them. Yeah, for the impact that they've had on my life. So I'm going to finish with a final thought that I think I've actually used before, but I'm going to use it again, and it is purely from our own Queen Elizabeth II, who said, "Grief is the price we pay for love." Bye for now.